What's up, you beauties? Welcome to High and Wide Hockey's YouTube channel, episode 4 of season 8. I'm your host, Jim Lycovone, and I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Jack Smith. If you're catching us live on YouTube tonight, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the alert so you never miss a show. And for all the podcast listeners out there, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcast or Spotify so you're first in line when newest episodes drop. Hockey fans and golf lovers, HW has dropped the perfect blend of style and performance. Our brand new HW Hockey golf hats. Let me get the banner up there while we do the read here. Jack, where the hell did I put that thing?
Every time we log on here, they add something new, so I'm going to be no help. Hey.
I put it right at the top of the list. All right. Whether you're hitting the links or just repping your favorite hockey brand off the ice, these hats are designed for comfort, breathability, and that clean, classic look. With a sleek fit and embroidered HW Hockey logo, you'll be turning heads while sinking putts. Don't miss out. Keep it high and wide all summer long before they're gone. Just Venmo at HW Hockey and make sure to send over your mailing address so we can ship you out your HW gear. You have 2 shots at a barcode there. Top right corner of your screen. If you want an HW Hockey golf hat, they're going for $30 these days. So you make sure to send over your hard-working cash there, and make sure you send over your mailing address so we can mail you out some HW gear. Man, it really felt like the dog days of summer last week, Jack. This week, even more so. Now, there are some topics to talk about. A pretty big one. And not just the new Happy Gilmore movie, but we're going to get to Carter Hart. Obviously, he's going to be the meat, I would assume, of this episode. We're going to talk World Junior Summer Showcase, of which the Flyers have 7, count them, 7 prospects playing in that showcase. I think that's an NHL high, so much to talk about there. And then we'll even talk a little bit of the Happy Gilmore movie at some point in the show. We'll give it a rating of 1 to 5 pucks or golf balls. I want to know if you guys saw it in the chat there. We got Teddy hanging out already. He's talking Phillies in the chat. Teddy, switch gears with us. Let's talk some Flyers and Happy Gilmore if you want.
I'll give it to him, though. It did only an hour ago. Huge trade for the Phillies. Got to give it to him. Hopefully we see this for the Flyers in a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, I think I saw well, we could start with that. I think I saw Ant DeGrazio on Twitter ask something like, and you'll see this a lot. Like, what's this mean in hockey terms, right?
Yeah. It's like based on the prospects they moved. I think Abel's like their, depending on how you view it, like their 3rd or 4th best prospect. I'd say 4th. And Tate was a catcher for the future. He's on the top 100 list. Probably like their 6th or 7th best prospect. So their 4th and 6th best prospects for like a goalie is what I've been seeing. So like explain it to me in hockey terms. I'm like, all right, who's our 4th best prospect and who's our 6th? Those 2 guys for a goalie. It was a really good deal. I mean, they got a absolutely flame-throwing closer, exactly what they needed. Hopefully they're not done. But yeah, the kind of stuff you want to see, and he's under control. It's not just this year. They got him for a few years. The kind of stuff we want to see. I want to see when it's time for the Flyers to do that. I want to be very. I mean, I was happy about the Zegras trade for sure, but we're still hoping Zegras has a bounce back year where this guy, the Phillies got, is rolling.
Yeah, for sure. So we're looking forward to when the Flyers are making these moves at the trade deadline. It's been. Man, can you even remember their last significant trade deadline deal for the Flyers?
You'd have to go back to Holmgren because Hexall didn't make any. And Fletcher, he got like Grant and, God, I can't. Who's the guy we got? He left and we brought him back again. He was like a 4th line guy. I can't even remember his name. Nate Thompson, I think. Yeah, it was like Nate Thompson and Derek Grant. That was like our 2019, 2020. Like, those are bottom line guys. So significant at the deadline? Jesus, man. That's a great question.
Honestly, I can't. Nothing comes.
Don't say mind. Andrew McDonald. I'll fight you right now.
No, I honestly can't even remember a trade deadline deal.
Everything I'm thinking of. I mean, I know they gave up a 1st and a 3rd for what's his name from Toronto. Oh my God, I bring him up all the time when I talk about overpayments at the deadline.
It's the Versteeg you're thinking of?
Versteeg, thank you, Versteeg.
That might be the last significant one.
and that's barely significant. You know what I mean? I mean, Jesus, man, I got to go back. Adam Oates, 90s, what, 8? And they gave up a haul for Adam Oates or something. I really can't think of any like mass at the trade deadline, unless I'm missing a big one. I don't think I am, though. Everything that big was in the offseason. Like Pronger was in the offseason. Yager, that was a signing, offseason. They're mostly all those, was it June 26th or something, or whatever day that is, that all the trades go down? That's what they're known for. Trade deadline, though, especially acquiring, not so much.
No, it's we're gonna have to look that one up because now I'm curious.
I'm sure I'm forgetting like a one. I just can't think of what the hell it is.
Let me see if
Maybe
there's anything on.
Maybe it'll come to me. You know, I'm trying to like the year. I feel like it would have just been depth. Nothing massive. They've been in on everybody, especially under Holmgren. Holmgren was like the guy who usually would make things happen. But as he got further and further along, those kind of deals, he kind of like tied himself up in the offseason. He didn't have a whole lot of room, you know, so there's only so much you could do. And yeah, Versteeg comes to mind. I'm trying to think the year before that, like 2010, even, like they barely made the playoffs. Oh, they got Vinny Prospel once. Yeah, I remember that. Vinny Prospel's a decent one. I mean, you see that on paper, and you're like, but him and Briere played pretty good for that playoff run.
All right, so here we go. In that trade for Derek Grant, and this just happened to pop up as I'm trying to filter back. That was February 24th, 2020. And if anybody in the chat can think of what the Flyers gave up for Derek Grant in the next 30 seconds.
Let me guess before I'll wait 30 seconds, but
go ahead.
So I don't know the whole trade. I'm sure there was a pick involved, but if you remember,
there's 2 assets, I'll give you that much.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. A couple of years ago, we had the guy who is like, he tells the Phantoms players like what school to go to and what event to go to. And he told us a story. And this player that was in this trade was supposed to go to this event. And he goes, I just got traded. I got to call my agent. It was that deal. And I can't think of the player, but I know that's the player he was talking about. Oh God. It was a throw-in. It was a throw. Wasn't it picks in a nobody throw-in for the Phantoms?
All right, so I'm going to just say, because there's nobody in the chat. So you had the player. Kyle Criscuolo was the player.
I would have never got that.
And then,
I just know the story. I just know the story.
The pick was a 4th-round pick. I don't remember the year, but that's what it was for Derek Grant. It wasn't actually bad.
It was with the Ducks, right? It was the Ducks.
It was, yep. And then the year before,
what is Nate Thompson on there?
He is. He's on the other page. I kind of skipped.
Not that he's a big name or anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wanted to try to find a significant move, and Puckpedia here only goes back to 2019. But I guess a significant deadline move was the Flyers traded 36-year-old Wayne Simmons for Ryan Hartman and a 4th-round draft pick.
Yeah, that's like a rebuilding kind of move. Like.
And then they didn't even bring Ryan Hartman back.
No, they traded him for that other guy we kind of liked. Oh, God, I can't think of his name either. And then they let him go. God, what's his name?
Yeah, let's see if we can find that.
Yeah, they traded him for somebody else. I think they traded him to Dallas or something.
Ryan Hartman for Tyler Pitlick, yeah.
Pitlicker. That's right.
Yeah, and then he's not even in the league anymore.
No, we liked him, but he didn't have any money. He couldn't make it work financially. I wish they would have just kept Hartman, to be honest. But yeah, it turned into a numbers game. But yeah, as far as adding, like McDonald, obviously, which was terrible, a 2nd and a 3rd to Islanders, one of which they used, I think, the 3rd to draft Sorokin. And then we re-signed McDonald to one of the worst contracts in team history. So that was terrible. Yeah, other than that, I can't think of I think they traded for a goalie kind of early. They traded for what's his name? He was with Detroit at the time. I think he's with Chicago now, or at least he last was, because they had so many injuries. Hackstall ran Elliott into the ground, so they had to go and trade for a goalie. What the hell's his name? Oh God, he's still around. He's still around. But for the chat, we're looking for any significant adds, not rebuilding moves. We're trading away, and it's pretty bleak. You have to go pretty far back. But yeah, nothing really jumps out as, oh my God, we're really loading up. Tony Monty in 03. That's a good one. That's before or that's after my Adam Oates one. So I'll take that. I was a big Tony Amani fan. Reuniting him with Ronick was a great idea.
I was a big Tony Amani fan back in the day. Can you hear me okay, Jack?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay. Mike came disconnected again. All right. It's the off season. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
All right. So let's move forward a little bit here, and let's get to some of probably the biggest news of the show. I don't think we had talked about it last week, did we, with the Carter Hart news?
I do not. I think it happened like the day after we recorded or something.
Okay. All right. So this is the first time our listeners or viewers are going to hear us talk about this. And unless you've been living under a rock, Carter Hart has been acquitted of all charges, which basically makes him a free agent. And he should be available to play in the NHL. Again, I think the NHL came out with a statement that said the players involved in the case are not currently eligible to play in the NHL as of now. But one would think eventually they will have the opportunity to play in the NHL again. And so, I guess, Jack, let's get into all of this. The decision overall. I don't know how closely we were able to follow this case, but by now, we know everything, or everything that's out there that's happened as far as what went down that night. And I guess, what are your thoughts on the decision that came about for these 5 players?
Based on the information I was able to get, and I was lucky enough to have some people send me some of the stuff, because while it's available, it's not easily to find some of the details in the case unless you really go digging. It sounds like the judge, first off, there was a whole shenanigans with the jury early on. So you knew from the get-go this was going to be a strange endeavor, to say the least. But ultimately, I think Carter Hart was the only one to take the stand as well. So take that for what you will. But ultimately, what the judge said and what was read was the defendant, and MM, I think they call her, what her testimony, her story had holes in it. She wasn't found truthful because of inconsistencies based on what she said to the police at the time, which comments she made at the time, and what she brought back up in court. There was inconsistencies. And I have a degree in criminal law and justice. I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I've taken those classes. And if you're lying, that's pretty typical. If you're telling the truth, there's no question. You don't forget stuff. You just don't. You're not scrambling to. It's like the number one thing they catch people on. It's pretty simple and easy. Now, I don't know what the players said. I don't know if they all only Hart took the stand, but I don't know if they all made sure they were on the same page or anything. I don't know everything, but if the judge finds your testimony, I don't want to say ineligible, but not truthful. I mean, yeah, it's kind of like you're the accuser. The burden of proof is on you to prove that these people did wrong. That's how the law's supposed to work. I know a lot of people, they see the headline, they're like, oh, I'm done. That's it. It's over. They don't care about any of the details or anything like that, which is wild to me. But, it's if you lay out your story and there's clear inconsistencies in the story, and one side doesn't have that, one side is all sorts of holes, yeah, it's pretty obvious where they're going to go. And that's not what I saw. That's what I read during and after the fact. I'm trying not to lose half of our subscribers here. I'm just saying that's what, pretty simple, pretty open and shut. Her testimony was not found viable. And that's what it comes down to. How can you put somebody away for something when the person telling the story very clearly can't remember, or could be lying, or could be trying to fill in the whole thing is messed up, and nobody's 100% innocent here. What took place was raunchy, to say the least, and very strange. But you got 18-year-old kids. I believe she was older than them, and her story just did not match up. So I don't know, what else do you need to know? Why does that? I have too many questions. I don't want to ramble on, but that's what it came down to. The person pointing the finger, who is from her side, the only witness, didn't have a trustworthy enough testimony, and you can't convict people on that.
Yeah, and ultimately that's kind of what came out. And look, I don't remember if I said this on our show or not. I'm pretty sure I did. But months back during the season, I had the opportunity to talk to a sports writer from Edmonton. And just give me a second here, and I'll tell you where he writes for. He writes for Sportsnet. And I was able to, somehow we got talking about Flyers goaltending, and we ended up on Carter Hart. And we ended up talking about the case, and, exactly how this played out is exactly what he said. And so just as a reminder, and look, this isn't my opinion on any of this. It's just what I was told and what ended up kind of happening. The victim here, or the woman involved in this situation, was already paid off by Hockey Canada, right? If there's an issue anywhere with this is my opinion, it should be with Hockey Canada. So, but I digress. This was already figured out. She was already paid. Whatever, if you want to say it's an admission of guilt that Hockey Canada ended up paying her off, and you could say they swept this under the rug, whatever you want to call it. It was done, right? And everybody kind of moved on with their lives. Even the victim here. This is what I was told. And what I was told was, and this, if anybody from Canada, because this was way more popular north of the border than it was certainly down here, even though this, Carter Hart plays in Philadelphia. We didn't get a lot of the details for this case. I imagine it was on all the news networks up there. It was not down here. I was told that Hockey Canada parents were upset that they used Hockey Canada money to pay this woman off. And so somewhere along the way, the police headquarters, wherever it was, London, Ontario, and Hockey Canada, somewhere there was, okay, let's open this back up. And I'm not sure if that was, I don't want to say that this whole thing was a show to say, hey, look, we're trying to save face. We're going to go back over this and do our due diligence, yada, yada, or, we're going to appease the mob, whatever you want to call it. And Explicit's putting stuff in the chat here. That's good stuff, Explicit. Thank you. But the way that it sounded to me was, okay, we're going to open this all back up just to show, hey, we're trying to do the right things. And I was told that even the victim didn't want this opened back up, because now she has to go through all of this again. Like, if it truly was a horrific night for her and, all this stuff, now she has to go through all this again for, I think it was the last year and a half or so. She got to listen to it all every day in court. She all has to replay out. If it was that traumatizing of a night, the victim has to relive all of that. Right. So even she didn't want this open back up, is what I was told. And then obviously the players all losing their jobs, and, their futures are in jeopardy, yada, yada. But what happened. And I guess if the goal was, these guys should pay the price because we had to, kind of thing, I guess, they got what they wanted, kind of thing. Right.
I guess everybody looks like an a-hole. So
yeah.
It's pretty tough.
There's a comment from Explicit there. His view is the trial was about consent, and unconsent was not proven by the Crown. So interesting how that played out. But I think, and this is what I was told back in February, I think, that there was no case, that there was not enough evidence, that the way that things were playing out meant that there was no case. And I'm like, how can they know this all the way back in January, February, March? They didn't even know when this thing was going to play out. They were saying maybe September, and it happened in June. It started during June at the end of the playoffs and concluded towards the end of July. And it went exactly how he said. And this person, his source was, I guess, a writer, a journalist for the courts up there. So I'm trusting that his source was pretty good. And just how it played out was just odd to me, And now, since we're kind of through all the court and the legal stuff, the question is, should they be allowed to play in the NHL again, Jack? And, from a Flyers, just a hockey perspective, this was a guy that was supposed to be your franchise goalie, and you lost him for nothing. You didn't even get any assets for him. It's just a guy off your roster. If you're the GM of the Flyers, and you're trying to rebuild your brand, rebuild your image, make this a place that players want to come play, do you consider bringing back Carter Hart? And we have to take into account, kid hasn't played in the National Hockey League in a year and a half, hasn't played competitive hockey. Coming off these massive allegations. I think somewhere in the chat I saw he was proven not guilty. That, it doesn't mean he's innocent of wrongdoing. It just means that he was found not guilty of, anything crazy. Is this a guy that you want to bring in, knowing that it's going to be a massive distraction? Does the skill outweigh all of that for you?
That's a good question. I mean, personally, if you're found guilty, what else? There's not another court system for, okay, I was found guilty. Now I need to be found actually innocent because you're innocent until proven guilty. That used to be how it was. I think anytime this stuff goes public, which is why they paid her off, you're automatically guilty. So, I mean, she shouldn't have to prove his innocence because he was found not guilty. You're supposed to prove them guilty. So to me, whatever side you believe and whichever side you're on, both sides are purposely leaving out information just to, their minds have already been made up. So to me, you can only go by the legal system because what else do you have? And he was found not guilty. So he should, of course, be allowed to play again. He needs to he should be able to earn a living. And we've seen guys found guilty who wind up back in the league. Jesus Christ, look at Michael Vick. He was found guilty. People got over that awfully quick. So I mean, he should be allowed to play. Now, from a team standpoint and the distraction, it's tough. With what the Flyers are trying to do, thank you, Ace, and what they've dealt with, it's hard to see them doing that. But ultimately, I think they should do what they think is right and what's right for the team. Would I do it? Yeah, I probably would, to be honest with you. I at least give them a start. I'm not paying them big years or anything like that. It's let's see where we're at once they get cleared by the league, because there's nothing you can do about that. But if somebody was accused of something and found not guilty, that's it. Unless it's like an OJ situation where the prosecution clearly has him dead to rights and just fumbles the ball, which is not at all what we saw in this case. They should have never went to trial based on what you just said. And it's your only evidence is testimony, and testimony has holes throughout it. So if there was if I truly felt that they fumbled the case, that's a different story. That does not seem to be what happened here. But that's why I would do it. But if it's going to be, if you're already trying to move away from bad press, which this past regime killed us with, they're definitely trying to move forward. It's a tough sell. So I don't know if Comcast gives them the okay for that. I don't know what was discussed before he left and went on leave. Do I think he deserves to play again? Yeah, I do. He was found not guilty. That is what it is. Will the Flyers do it? Would I do it? Yeah, probably. Would the Flyers do it? Probably. I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah, it's a weird situation, and I think it's a tough topic to give an opinion on. So I'm going to try eventually here. You mentioned Michael Vick with the Eagles, and great example. For whatever reason, there seems to be a lot more leeway And maybe I just don't spend enough time in like the football world, but there just seems to be a lot more leeway and a lot more forgiveness in football than there does in hockey. And maybe I'm just too immersed in the hockey world. Does that make sense?
Well, this is really a
but,
tough
but
topic.
every summer there's like crazy stuff in football, and it's like guys back in the league. Rasheed Rice, for an example,
Yeah, but
like if that was hockey, I'm just not sure the situation would be the same.
They get over a lot of domestic. They're getting better with it, I think, or they're covering it up better. But like they were getting away with domestic abuse a lot, which is really bad. I mean, this is like a he said, she said. They were into it. It went too far. Depends on who you believe and whatnot. But like in the NFL, it is straight up what domestic abuse. And yeah, Rasheed Rice, he originally got 2 games. And then the video came out. Oh, now he's suspended indefinitely. You don't think they saw that video before it came out publicly? Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. The NFL is ridiculous.
Well, then you look at two examples of domestic abuse in hockey that immediately come to mind for me. And if you can think of more, let me know in the chat, or Jack, if you could think of any more. But I think it was Voinov, or if I'm misremembering his name, but he was from the Kings, young defenseman, was involved in a domestic dispute. I think he ended up like beating his wife or something. Barred from the NHL. He was a good young prospect, was getting games with the Kings, basically shunned from the league after that. Milan Lucic, I don't know if he was still in the league, but I think it was towards the end of his career anyway. But even if there's a sniff of domestic violence, it seems like players end up getting shunned. Evander Kane, I'm not sure the whole situation there.
Well, that's
partner, kind of, or whoever he was with, sounds a little bit weird to me.
It's one of those who do you believe stories.
Yeah.
But look what everybody's saying in the chat. I mean, Chicago's a great example. I mean, how bad that was.
Yeah.
And you saw the GM and the coach get fired and kind of blackballed for a while, but now they're both back in the NHL. One of which is running Edmonton right now. Like, I mean, and look what happened to that poor guy. And that actually happened. It was proven. These are all guilty cases, not a not guilty.
True. Yeah, Taves is back in the league. I mean, he was out for health reasons, but
Quenneville and Bowman.
Yeah. Everyone associates Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane with those teams, but I guess player wise, Jonathan Taves is back, so it's a good point. Good example to bring up. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. Quenneville's back in the league.
You know Bowman. What it is? It just comes down to this. If you truly did not do something and somebody accuses you of it and you prove you did not do it in court, what's the next step? Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to prove everything else? Like, yeah. I don't understand it. Yes, some weird shit went down. Okay. I read the same stuff everybody else did. I get it. But you didn't prove that there was no consent. So I don't understand. What's the next step? You're supposed to just go off to an island and rot away? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You already lost years off your prime of your career, and you dealt with it in court, and you've proven yourself. You did everything the only way you're supposed to. It's the only way the world is set up for you to do it, and you got your results, and you're still shunned? Like, what the? Like, it doesn't make any. It's weird. It's strange. That's why. And I'm not saying she falsely accused, but why people who do that should have the book thrown at them, because that you completely ruin somebody's life. And no matter how much burden of proof is on the accuser, they don't have to prove anything for half the world to hate you. They just automatically believe it. Like, it's unbelievable. And I don't know 100. Nobody knows 100% what actually went down. All you have is what took place in court. That's why it's there. And it's not. There is no perfect system. It doesn't exist. If there is something, let me know. And you did the best you could, and it wasn't like it was a split decision or something. You know what I mean? It was pretty clear based on the testimony given. What else are you supposed to do? It's just baffling to me. And I say this as somebody. There's a lot of people out there probably going to say, "Well, Jack shouldn't have a girl then." Well, guess what? I have 2 boys, and if either of them got accused and didn't do anything, and they stood up in court and proved that they didn't, and the case was thrown out, and people still act like they're guilty, I'm going to have a massive problem with that. Uh-oh. You all right, Jim?
Sorry, man. I think my headset went out again.
I hear you. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. And then it's just me. So let's look at the Vinite, Stan Bowman, and Quimble should have never been, and that's a case where they didn't do the act, but they helped cover it up, aka they were guilty. That's a situation where they were guilty. That's a good question, Hoax. From what I was told, he does, but that might have just been in the moment. We'll ultimately see. I'm sure he might be in a situation. He might be in a situation where he wants to just go somewhere where there's a lot of spotlight in Philly, and it might make a lot more sense for him to wind up somewhere where there's not a lot of spotlight, just to be nice and quiet and not known and kind of let to sweep under the rug. Unfortunately, doesn't go much to my bowling case, but it's a different situation.
So I got a question for Hoagie. Who is the most famous person that follows you on Twitter? And just put it in the chat. I'm curious.
That was hilarious. That was amazing. That and my conversation with Gronk that followed.
So I just want to say this first. That whole thing was driving me nuts that everyone was asking Gronk who the most famous person I'm just like, oh my God, here
visit their profile.
Yeah. And then when I seen, some embarrassing names popping up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. And then when you sent me that my name popped up under Hoagie's name, it made my week. Not just my night, made my week.
You read my conversation with Gronk, right?
Yeah. What
I laughed because I thought that was funny, and Gronk got mad at me. He's like, "Well, actually, Jimmy is famous in hockey circles or Flyers circle." I'm like, "Whoa! I'm not disagreeing with you. I just thought it was funny." I'm like, "Geez, I didn't realize he had a personality."
My boy Gronk. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I didn't really answer my own question. If I was Flyers GM, if I was Danny Briere, it would be a tough decision, wouldn't it? Because he's instantly better than Sam Ersson and Dan Vladar.
We're talking just on ice. Yeah, that is easily your biggest weakness. You saw it the last 2 years. Last year, for sure, the goalie debacle was a joke. The year before that, they were looking pretty good until the Hart had to go away. And Ersson just played way too many games and was in over his head. Up until that point, they were the top of the division. Like goaltending, and if they're turning the corner, and like they're saying they are, and that's your biggest weakness. And look, say what you will about Vladar, we're hoping for the best. But if you're really trying to win and maybe scratch the playoffs, sniff the playoffs, so maybe entices a free agent in 2026, fixing your goaltending would be the biggest issue. Now, there's two caveats. The league obviously has got to let him go. And like you said, he hasn't played in a long time. So that could be an issue as well. And I couldn't agree more, Dan. I mean, you look at the NFL, you look at other situations, you look at actually guilty parties, all back and playing. Yeah. Except for the people who get off. There's people who get off guilty or innocent rather, and they're blackballed, like Trevor Bauer in baseball and whatnot. That's mind blowing to me.
Dan says the sports world is filled with gross people. Bring them back. Screw it.
To jump from one gross person to a non-gross person, according to Grok, James Eichenbone is a notable in Flyers podcasting circles. His clout in Flyer circles is undeniable. Yes, that's what Grok threw in my face when I laughed.
Yeah, Grok knows his shit, man.
That was hilarious.
I have to say, I was trying to use Grok, the AI, the other night, and not good, not very good. Especially not, in my opinion, not compared to ChatGPT. A lot to be desired for Grok. So I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't believe him. Who knows? Okay. Would I bring him back? Makes a lot of sense hockey-wise to do it, right?
It does. With your biggest need, you address your biggest need. And a lot of the guys you thought would be available signed for bad deals, and trades were way too expensive. And
would it hurt the locker room? Does the locker room want him back?
I mean, we don't know. We're not there, but I would be surprised. I always assumed that he had a good relationship with his teammates. I have no reason to believe he would not, unless you know something I don't.
I don't know. It was regarding teammates. I'm not sure. I had heard a while back that Danny Briere wasn't too fond of Carter Hart. And I'm just going to say this because we're talking about him. And the book is pretty much out. He's weird. He's, young kid making a lot of money. It's hard from what I know, from what I've heard. Yeah, he likes the ladies, like all the ladies, big, small, fat, skinny, you name it. That's just what I've heard from multiple sources. And I just wonder, if Briere kind of has his finger on the pulse kind of thing, and maybe he's thinking, okay, we got this guy out of here, we don't have to bring, I'm not really fond of him in the first place. I don't need to bring him back kind of thing. But if it's purely a hockey thing and the locker room likes him and he's going to help you win another 5-10 games, maybe he likes him enough. I don't know.
It depends. If you think the skill is worth it, I don't know. I definitely heard that Hart it might be a little weird. So my one interaction, he wasn't, but they're all, yeah.
You
thank
don't
you,
have
Teddy.
kids, Jack.
Maybe not then. All goalies are weird. They are. And it's like, whatever, man. I don't care. I don't look at their personal lives and whatnot. If they are in need and they're could be good or better than what I have, then you got to consider it.
Yeah. And if this happens here, I'll be bummed out. I think I'm riding the side and let him move on. Like, let's all move on from this. At the same time, I have like FOMO, because if he goes somewhere and plays well, and we're still stuck with Vladar and Urson for the next 2 years, I'll be angry. More so maybe at the player than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You had your whole future in front of you. How important was that blowjob? You know what I mean? Did you really need that? You were going to get it whenever you wanted. Why did you have to do that? Leave the room, dog. Like,
remember they were 18. I mean, how were you when you were 18? I was a wild man. Like,
I had a head on my shoulders though, and I knew
there are goalies.
I knew that I was going to be making millions of dollars in the future, and this could be an every night thing,
Maybe, I don't know.
So I don't know, man. So okay, we can move on a little bit.
It just is the Flyers goalie curse. It's all. It's just another chapter in the goalie curse.
Yeah, it's definitely a curse. That's for sure. Okay, let's move on a little bit to the World Junior Summer Showcase. Let me bring up the notes here so I can remember every player that's playing in this, Jack, because there's a lot of them. We have Jack Berglund playing for Sweden.
With skates to fit, baby. Let's go.
Playing well, too. And then we have Shane Van Saggy, Jack Murtagh, Porter Martone, and Spencer Gill playing for Canada. Heikki Rahonen, who just put a video out, I think it was Sunday. And Max Westergaard, also taken in the 2025 NHL draft. Some of these guys playing pretty well. Van Saggy, Murtagh, I don't think getting as much playing time as these other guys.
I do believe today that Porter Martone took a stretch pass from Aitchison, who was also drafted. I forget by who. I think the Islanders drafted him. Yep. And scored on a breakaway, which is nice. I think he beat him 5-hole. I believe Berglund either had a goal or an assist. Van Saggy, I thought, had either a goal or an assist. Like some guys, they got on the score sheet. I think Canada lost, though, today. There was one. You named all these prospects. It was great. You know who was missing, though? Jack Nesbitt. Interesting. 2 first-round picks to move up to 12, and he's not even in all those names. Second-rounders.
You're going to catch a lot of shit for bringing Nesbitt up.
And no Nesbitt. I mean, wow. First, he's not on the Athletics like top 100 prospects. I mean, the entire first round and part of the second round was there, and no Nesbitt, and no Nesbitt here. So, yeah, he's got a lot to live up to. Just pointing it out. That's all.
Yeah. No Nesbitt. I don't know who the centers are for Canada. Do you have a centers list there?
Canada probably pretty good. I'll see what I can find. Oh boy. Let's see if it gives me the roster.
I forget who I was looking at here.
Is this Canada? Well, I think Hagen's is no, it's USA. I'm on the wrong game. Come on. Yeah, these sites are not user friendly.
I think Cole Reshney was the top center.
Yes, because he had a point. He probably didn't even need to trade up and could have gotten him, but what do I know?
Michael Hage.
Let's see. Rosters. Okay. That's Sweden. Let me scroll down here. Come on. This is the absolute worst. I type rosters, pulls up Sweden's roster. Well, what about the team they're playing? Berglund's on that team. Here we go. It just says forward. So I'll see Jake O'Brien, Page. Hey, Spencer Gill's playing. That's nice. Martone, Kindell, Wilson Carbonell. These are wingers. Cole Reshney, Gavin McKenna. Yeah. Well, guys drafted after him are playing on this team. So there you go. Brady Martin.
I think I got it. Ready?
Go ahead.
They have Cole Reshney playing 1C. They have Michael Misa playing 2C. Cole Bedouin playing 3C, and Braden Coots filling out at 4C.
So at least two guys that went after him. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna drive this point home, baby.
Yeah.
I think Luchenko was hurt. Luchenko could have been there, but he was hurt.
I think everybody knows that they reached for him at 12.
Don't just brush. Reach.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Let me see who played in this game again today for the Flyers here. Van Sagi played for the United States. I don't see Murtagh in this lineup, but yeah.
Linden, I'm pretty sure it's his groin. I'm not sure how serious it is, but I'm pretty sure it's Jet's groin.
That's for Luchenko's. Why Luchenko's not playing?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nice to see 7 guys in this. It is just the summer showcase, but it's important, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a showcase. It's in the word. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, it's good stuff there. Jack Berglund, by all accounts, looks pretty good, and I just put out 5 hidden gems, and I don't know how much of a hidden gem Jack Berglund can be considered because he was a 2nd-round pick. Mm-hmm. And to me, like, you could even comp that to the Nesbitt pick, because when they drafted Jack Berglund, were you excited for Jack Berglund, Jack?
There was guys on the board that we all wanted, but it was the 2nd round. And I didn't even know. I didn't know where he wasn't even listed. Yeah. So I was kind of like, what? And you read about him. It's like his ceiling is like a 3rd-line center. Then a couple of weeks later, the skates not fitting thing came out. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of baffling. And I don't know if I fully believe that. But if there's any truth to it, and our team or whoever gets some skates that fit, and maybe the ceiling's a little bit higher than we realized. So fingers crossed, off to a decent start. Yeah, it's all I can ask for. Yeah.
There's been somebody in the chat here, I think it's Oakham, that every week or every other week, and I can never tell if it's sarcasm or not.
No, it's legit this time.
It's legit. He's a big Jack Berglund guy. Every week he says Jack Berglund, future 1C, and I'm like, can you get the hell out of here? Like, knock it off. But I think he's serious.
Look, I mean, he's a big guy too. I mean, knows how to skate now because the skates fit. Sky's the limit, I guess. I think we kind of wrote him off, and if he proves that, too bad he didn't prove himself a little bit sooner. They may not have had to trade up for Nesbitt. All right, that's the last one. I promise. I'm done after that.
All right, you can keep doing it. I don't know if you're pissing everyone off.
I don't know either. I don't know.
All right, so yeah, Jack Berglund, solid tournament. You know who else is playing pretty well? Like a Rahonen.
Yes, that was the other name. Yes.
He's playing for Finland. I think he's been getting top line minutes as well. Now, I don't know if Finland's teams are as deep as they typically are, but anytime you're getting top line for a national team, especially one like Finland, that has to mean something. And put up 39 points in 49 games in his first season in the United States Hockey League last year. So the Flyers may have found something in Rahonen here. Tenacious. I was going to say little player. He's not that little. Tenacious player. This is going to be a guy I think we got to keep an eye on. He had 4 points in 7 games in last year's World Junior Tournament. This would be the year that he's due for a legitimate breakout. He's 19 years old, turned 19 on June 19th. So he'll be 19 the entire season. But this will be the year that, you really want to see that jump in play, the jump in numbers from Rahonen. If it's the real thing, maybe the Flyers, look, I'm not saying he's Braden Point, but the Flyers need to hit on some of these later draft picks. Maybe Rahonen is one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. If they're hitting on guys like Berglund and Rahonen, I don't give a shit about the Nesbitt pick then. Then they can do what they can do. They would have free reign to do whatever they want in the draft if they're hitting on 4th and 5th round picks. Because Barkey's a guy we're all waiting, to see what he has too. Maybe undersized, but he's done everything you've asked at this point. If they're starting to hit on guys late in later rounds, then by all means, please, don't let me hold you back. So that's one thing that the previous regimes have really never done. I can't think of a late round. I guess Noah Cates, was he 2016? Carter? No, he was a second round pick. So Noah Cates, Oscar Lindblom, we'll never really know because the cancer really derailed his career. 5th round pick. Noah Cates and Urson, but Urson may not be a starter. So Noah Cates, bottom 6 guy. So I mean, if any 4th and 5th on, and you got a guy in the NHL, that's a win. If they're worth anything on top of that, then yeah, by all means. But still, I will definitely give Brent Flair a lot more of the benefit of the doubt if he's sitting on guys late like that, for sure. It's what you want to see. Based on where they were picked, you kind of just forget about them. So if they're giving you any reason to talk about them, that's a good thing. And I'm very happy with that. We need a prospect pool where I don't know how this team is really going to go get that number 1 D or C, and they might not get it. They might just have to have a lot of good players and see what happens. And if we have so many good guys that are good and are pushing for spots, then you're going to have to make some trades. And, you never know. So it's a good problem to have. So where these guys are at now, it's fantastic. And like you said, in Rahonen's case, if he were going to break out, it would be this year, and he's off to a hell of a start. Then great. Scott, let's go.
Yep. For sure. Okay, a couple things connected here in the chat, so we'll discuss. Benit asks, have you guys heard any news on Tyson Foerster? The reason that he's asking is he's wondering, are the Flyers expecting him to be back for training camp, hence their support of Martone going to college? Just curious. Personally, and Jack, I don't know if you have, but I haven't heard anything on Foerster whatsoever, aside from what came out, I guess, weeks ago now.
I mean, it's an infection. So how do you judge the timeline for something like that? Briere, when last asked about it, was said something like, I hope he doesn't miss the whole season. We were also told around January he could be coming back, and now it's like he could be at camp. So I really have no idea. I think that's
got to be a staph infection. What the hell kind of infection could you have that's going to cause this was back in, let's say, early July, August, September. If we're getting to October, that's 4 months. He's going to start missing games. What kind of infection could cause you to miss 4 months?
I have no idea. I've never really had one like that. I don't know. I know they can be very serious, but it seems to be in the moment kind of thing. It doesn't last that long, but I really don't know. We're just going by what we're being told. I don't think it's related to Martone going to college, though. I think they want to keep some spots open for some other guys to push, and it makes more sense if Martone, because he didn't really show off all that well at the development camp. If he doesn't make the team, he's kind of in limbo. So it's why don't you just go dominate college, play against more physical competition, and come back next year, which actually makes perfect sense. You're going to have Bump pushing for the team, Luchenko pushing for the team. A guy I don't think he'll make it out of camp, but they're going to want to see maybe a guy like Grabenkin at some point could push to make it. Tuomala somewhere in the mix still. So they got guys they want to see now. And Foerster, I think they believe as well, will either not miss any time or be back at some time So they're going to, they don't want to have too much of a, clogging of the pipeline or the roster and whatnot. So I think they just don't know. It's weird. I don't know if how truthful they're being with this whole thing. I believe they said it happened at right after the season at what was it, World Junior something or other championships,
World
whatnot.
Championships,
yeah. And but then there was the whole UFC fighter things, and he was there. He's there taking a picture. So if you got hurt there, why are you at the UFC fighting thing? I mean, I've done jiu-jitsu. It's not, and I'm sure it's mostly,
ain't good for infections. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure it's mostly sparring, fighting, but exactly. If you're already hurt and you have an infection, rolling around with the guys on the mat or even sparring, not exactly what you should be doing. So I don't know how truthful this whole thing is. Could be, overreacting. But you know what? I thought the Cutter Gauthier not showing up to Dev Camp was a non-starter, and look what happened there. So now I guess I'm looking into everything because that's life. So yeah, it's a little strange. If he comes in and he's fine and no harm, no foul. But if this drags on, it's going to be like, okay, what really happened here? What's going on?
Yeah, and remember, he hurt his shoulder back when he was a rookie, I think. Or even before, he when he played with the Phantoms during I think it was the COVID season, if I'm not mistaken. He should have been sent down, but they kept him up with the Phantoms, and he ended up hurting his shoulder. And I can't help but look, this is speculation. This is don't go repeating this to anybody else kind of thing. It kind of just stays in this room, guys.
It's only 300 people watching.
Yeah, but don't you just wonder a little bit? History of shoulder injury doesn't really make sense that he might miss games because of an infection. Lyndon said in the chat that he maybe had something removed, and maybe just has to grow back, and they don't want him, getting all sweaty and germy and disgusting while this wound is still open or whatever. But there's that thought in my mind that's just this doesn't really make a lot of sense. To talk about he could potentially be missing games.
It's weird. It's weird, and they're not being very straightforward, other than saying it's an infection, and they really don't have to say much else. I just don't understand how, like you were saying, how can an infection have you out where you could miss the whole season? You could originally be back in mid-January, or now he might be at camp. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, and Lyndon's right here. He says, is it me, or are there more infections pre and post surgeries? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just human nature, especially for me to kind of question everything, because you never know what the hell's right anymore. You want to trust, but you just never know. So, all right. We have about 7 minutes left in our episode tonight, Jack, and we didn't really touch on Happy Gilmore yet. Did anybody watch this in the chat? Did you see Happy Gilmore? If you did, give it a rating of 1.0 to 5.0. I want to know what you guys thought of Happy Gilmore. So, Jack, we talked before the show. You weren't able to see it this week, and I was able to watch it. I think it was Friday night or Saturday night. And Happy Gilmore #1. I know you saw that. Everyone's seen Happy Gilmore. One of my most favorite movies of all time. Just a generational comedy, right? It was pretty much a perfect movie, in my opinion. Very quotable. We're quoting it 30 years later, right? Even to this day, we're quoting Happy Gilmore. I'm out on the golf course. You get a ball closer to the pin. Somebody's closer. You know what I mean? There's so many quotes from the movie that you can use throughout your everyday life. And when I first heard that they were making a Happy Gilmore 2, my first thought was, this movie doesn't need a sequel. It was fine. It was perfect on its own. I don't think it needed a number 2. I find my mind instantly going to, all of today's movies are shit. They're either remade or they're comic book movies. But at the same time, I tried to keep an open mind. Okay, it's going to be nostalgic. Here we are in 2025 talking about Happy Gilmore. One of, like I mentioned, my favorite movies of all time. There was anticipation. I wouldn't say excitement for me personally, kind of counting down to the day, because I'm like, oh my God, I know they're going to ruin this. I know they're going to mess this up. So I kind of had that, and I'll just say it, like, negative mindset heading into watching it.
So low expectations. Okay.
Yeah. And I kind of thought it was going to be exactly how it went. Like, could you imagine Happy Gilmore coming out today? You know what I mean? Like, there are number one, there are no more funny movies being made.
No.
Like, there are no more Vince Vaughns. There's no more Owen Wilsons, Luke Wilsons. There's no more Wedding Crasher movies. There's no more, help me out, what's the movie where we're going streaking?
Old school. Will Ferrell. Yeah. Even Step Brothers is amazing.
Where'd all those movies go? They stopped making them. Why?
You know what happened.
Yeah. And so
somebody mentioned The Big Lebowski. I love that movie.
Great movie. And then so part of me was like, you know what? At least they're making a funny movie. But I was just worried that they're going to put it that they were going to release it in the sunglasses of today's.
Yeah.
Especially because it came out on Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody watches Netflix anymore. I personally have a hard time watching it. I used to love flipping through Netflix because there's so much, good stuff on there. Now it's all, I tell my girlfriend Netflix is for women, because it's all soap opera movies, very low, cheap, very non-fundable. I'm sorry, low. What's the word I'm looking for, Jack?
Budget?
Low budget movies. Yeah. Maybe they'll put like a high C, low B actor in there as the main character. Like, I can't watch this shit.
Yeah, I saw this guy 20 years ago or something.
Yeah. So when I heard it's coming out on Netflix, I'm like, oh God, please don't.
Well, Sandler's got that deal with Netflix, so if they make anything, it's coming out on Netflix.
I had all these thoughts like, oh shit, like, I just want to enjoy this movie. Like, is it going to be possible? And a lot of the fears that I had came true in the movie. Like, I almost feel bad because you haven't seen it yet, Jack, but the nostalgia aspect was there for sure. And they added in some golf, added in a little hockey, a lot of celebrity appearances, which if you like the celebrity cameos, you'd love that. For me, I was like, just make a good movie and I'll be happy with it. I don't need to see all these celebrities playing characters or whatever it was, So I guess overall, and I'll get to my rating in a second, I didn't see any. Oh, we have a few ratings here. We have Dan Knightley gave it a 3.5. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Look, I tried to go in with an open mind, but I couldn't shake the expectations of the old movie, which was, in my opinion, 5 out of 5, like a perfect score. So 3.5, I think that's fair. It was fun. Peter Tom Willis says, yeah, it was a 4. Perfect inclusion of all the former actors. And Jack, when you watch it, you'll notice that. Yeah, they did bring back a lot of the older guys, and even Chubbs, who passed away during the filming of the movie. They brought his son in, Jack, which I thought was pretty awesome.
That's great. That's awesome, especially because the character died in the first movie. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Look, for me, a movie like that, the first thing you think of is cash grab, and you're like, please don't be a cash grab.
Right. Yeah.
But I follow Shooter McGavin on Twitter, and I have for quite some time, and he can't help himself with everything he says is related to that movie. So the fact they're coming out with the second one is phenomenal. And as long as he's good, is all I care about, because in the first movie, he is the best comedic antagonist I've ever seen. You talk about quoting stuff. Shooter McGavin is my spirit animal. I love Shooter McGavin. He is the best part of that movie. And I'm hoping that he is the best part of the second movie, because if the whole movie sucked and he was good, that'd be fine by me.
Yeah, and I think I even might be being a little bit unfair to say that it was terrible. Like, look, I'm just going to give it. I'm going to give it a 2.7. Like, there's an entertainment there, but I think with any sequel, what we do, or at least what I do, is I compare it to the first one, which, look, it was never going to have a shot at being better than the first one, right? Even though it's like, well, if you're going to take the time to make Happy Gilmore 2, why don't you try to make it as good as the first one? This way, today's generation has a movie to quote 30 years from now. Instead, they're all going to be quoting the first Happy Gilmore still,
Yeah, I think they're gonna movie like that. You're gonna want to. They did the right thing in the sense that you got to hit the nostalgic button.
Yeah.
And the fact they brought back everybody they could is great. You're gonna see the same style of comedy and hit all this. If there's a way to do it where you roll your eyes and it's like, this is just a cash grab. There's another way to do it and be respectful to the first movie and make it fun. It sounds like they maybe hit that, which would be fine. That's fine. I'm not going in expecting, Shawshank Redemption or anything. When you write a movie like this, you're not writing it for the story. You're writing it for the nostalgia, and you're going to do the best you can to appease the fans and all that stuff. And if they did that, I'll take it. And again, as long as Shooter McGavin's good, then I'm fine.
Yeah, shooters to go. And that takes me to one of my points about the first movie. When I was younger, huge Happy Gilmore fan. As I got older, I found that I kind of associated more with Shooter McGavin. Like he's just one of the best characters of all time,
Oh yeah, hands down.
And so if I don't know if anyone's into golf in the chat here, even if you're not, if you're just looking for entertainment, maybe you want to put something on in the background while you work. Bryson DeChambeau has a golf series on Netflix, on YouTube called Breaking 50, where he gets a celebrity on and they try to break 50. And for non-golfers, that means to try to shoot under 50 for 18 holes. So in his most recent episode, he had Adam Sandler on to promote the movie because Bryson DeChambeau's in the movie. A lot of golfers are in the movie. Highly recommend it. They talk about the movie a lot, and they touch on exactly what you said, Jack. It sounded like you just wanted something that people could just enjoy and kind of get nostalgic about, and just sit back and just watch, like a movie that's not stressful, carefree, fun, funny movie. And if that was the goal, I think he hit the nail on the head with that. So
I don't expect much more. I just want Shooter to shine.
Yep. Bryson, if you're watching, that was my plug for you. So I'd appreciate a plug on your show.
And you know what? No, I'm not gonna say. I gotta see it first. So.
All right. Yeah, well, we could do a Jack's review next week to see what you thought. Okay. Well, we're a couple minutes over time here. Jack, did you have any topics that we didn't sneak in this week that you want to get in before we wrap up?
I don't think we need to get anything in because it's still the off season. So we'll just push it to next week. And nothing's really has to be talked about right now. I think we went over everything. And, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm not going to put on a mask for the people. You're going to get it how it is and how I feel. And that's that.
That's how it should be. And Keith, we could do this every week if you want to talk about McKenna. So Keith asked, when do we start talking about drafting McKenna? We could do a whole nother hour if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to draft McKenna. Then we're going to sign McDavid. It's going to be a great one too.
Could you imagine? You know what? We can start that up. Next week, we'll get it going. What do we have next week? Next Wednesday is what? August something. 4th, 5th?
I'll be in the Poconos, but I might be able to pod. We'll see.
So you're going to miss the McDavid McKenna episode.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right.
I'll take my computer with me, see what happens.
All right. Lyndon, thanks for hanging out. Oakham, as always, thanks for hanging out. Keith, Vineet, who do we miss here? Lyndon, I think I got you. Teddy. Who else? Peter, Tom, Dan,
Kurt.
Ace. Thanks for the donation, Ace. Very kind of you.
Yeah, Peter, Vineet, and Pergs stopped in. Actually said something positive. We didn't get to talk about it, but Purgatory with a positive comment. I loved it. Don't think it got by me. I saw it, Pergs. If you're still there.
Explicit Dave Campo. Even Matty Hogues of the Pod Street Bullies popped in. Wow. A cameo. Most famous person in our chat.
Oh, it stuck the words right out of my mouth.
All right, boys and girls, we're going to wrap this episode up. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of HW Hockey. For Jack, I'm Jim. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. We'll see you next time on HW Hockey. Bye-bye. Oh, man, I have to change the outro song. It's going to, if you haven't already, and if you're still with us, go check out the brand new series, Breaking Briere. I broke down the Ivan Provorov trade.
Nice.
We're going to be trying to do one of those every week for the rest of the summer. We're going to be rating every move on a scale of 1 to 10. I gave him an 8.8 on that trade. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We're out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.